Greetings. Welcome to Growth Hacking Show. This is for CEOs, founders, entrepreneurs, serial entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants who want to avoid the mistakes and want to learn from others instead of doing it themselves. And plus, they want to expand their business, accelerate their business growth to change the prosperity of their future. In case you don't know me, this is Mohammed Siddique, your host for Growth Hacking Show and the co-author of New Success Secrets, available on Amazon. On this episode, I have a very special guest, no other than Chris Voss, CEO, author, negotiating expert. Chris Voss is the CEO of a Black Swan Group and the author of national best-selling author Never Split the Difference, Negotiating as If Your Life Depended on It, which is named one of the 7 best books on negotiation. Let me tell you, before you consider this is one of the 7. If you ask me, this is the best book on negotiations. Okay, it's not one of the 7th. That's unfair almost the rating. So as a 24 years veteran of FBI, Chris retired as a leading international kidnapping negotiator. Drawn on his experience in a high-stake negotiation, his company specializes in solving business communication challenges and problems using hostage negotiation solutions. Their negotiation methodology focuses on discovering black swans, small pieces of information that have a huge effect on the outcome. Chris and his team has helped many companies secure and close better deals, save money, and solve internal communication problems. Chris has been featured in Time Magazine, Business Insider, Entrepreneur Inc., Fast Company, Fortune, Washington Post, Success Magazine, CNN, ABC News, and many more. And he has been a guest on probably hundreds of other podcasts. However, this is the ever best you're going to watch. You stick with us together. Chris, without any further delay, please join me to give a warm welcome to our guest, Chris Voss. Chris, welcome.
Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you very much. A pleasure to be on.
Yeah. Chris, let me start with this. Where were you? What happened? Who you were surrounded with that inspired you to get into negotiation, which is quite a boring subject. However, you have been saving lives. That's a very interesting story to know about you.
Well, I was originally on the SWAT teams with the FBI. I was a member of the SWAT team, and I had a recurring knee injury. You know, some of the best things in my life have happened as a result of what other people perceive to be negatives. So instead of staying in SWAT on my knee until it was gone, I decided I'd switch over to negotiation. The negotiators went out with the SWAT guys, and I didn't know how they worked their magic, but I figured I could do it. And I got into hostage negotiation and ended up being much more satisfying and challenging for me than SWAT ever was.
However, you're not meeting the people on the other side. So that negotiation becomes almost like a phone call most of the time, because wherever they are physically, you don't want to be there anyway. Is that right?
Well, yeah, it is a telephone call. And it's an effective phone call. I mean, how do you establish rapport quickly with someone who's got their defenses up, who knows you're trying to establish rapport? How do you get them out, make them happy without giving them anything? That was hostage negotiation, and it's everyday negotiations. How do we establish rapport quickly? How do we make people feel good about cooperating with us?
Is it directly like, oh, I want to be in hostage negotiations, you just got to kind of enroll and get the training from FBI? Or there's something kind of background you have to go through that before you get on that one? Because that's probably very, very challenging one, because you are saving lives on the other side.
Right. Well, you know, I was completely unqualified. I went to the head of the team in New York and sort of volunteered and thought that, just because I wanted to do it, that was enough. And it's not. And she rejected me. But then I said, there's got to be something I could do. She said, there is. Go volunteer on a suicide hotline and don't come back until you have. So I did it. You know, most people, never take advice from somebody you wouldn't trade places with. I'd have traded places with her. I took the advice, and that made all the difference in the world.
Yeah, no, that's amazing, because even doesn't matter, even as a student, you tell your students to do something, and 1 out of maybe 100, 200, 300, they will actually do something. The rest is all just like, oh, yeah, I will do it. But usually they don't follow through. It's like,
right. Yeah, it's an incredible competitive advantage. First of all, to know who to ask advice from, which is usually somebody you trade places with.
Yeah.
and then do it. It's not complicated, but so few people actually do it.
Yes, definitely, definitely. Chris, as you know, the people who are watching this, they are the CEO of the company, salespeople, and entrepreneurs and serial entrepreneurs. They probably are not much interested in, the FBI negotiating, stuff. However, we are going to ask the questions in a way where we can apply that knowledge in a real business world. So, how that transformation happened from hostage negotiation to the business negotiation? That's a big leap.
Well, the first really big step was I negotiated my way into Harvard Law School's negotiation course while I was still with the FBI. And, that was supposed to be the epitome of business negotiation training, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And I got in there, and since I didn't know any better, I used my hostage negotiation skills, and it worked phenomenally. I mean, I got the upper hand on people who were clearly all very much smarter than me. So that was the biggest step. And Harvard staff, they just said, look, you're doing the same thing we're doing. The context is different. The stakes is different, but the dynamics are exactly the same. And that was really the biggest step towards taking hostage negotiation into business negotiation.
That's a big thing. So you use your own stuff.
Yeah. Just use the hostage stuff, and it worked beautifully.
Okay, I'm going to ask you at the end, not now, that when clients hire you, how you negotiate with them, because they must be already scared. I don't want that question right now at the end. Okay, we are going to hold them.
Right.
Okay, so mostly the business, it's all about sales. Let's get into the sales part. Because when we are making a call, on the other side, no one is expecting your cold call. Oh, Chris called me, Siddique called me. That's not the happen. So in a cold call, what's the first thing we should say as a salesperson to get the more better response from the other side? Because let me say what I used to say: is it a good time to talk? And answer is most of the time. I have been doing this for 20 plus years. You got gray hair and losing them too. So you got a better answer than that one. I used it, hint, and it has changed much better numbers. I'm still working on that. I'm a student. So
yeah, well, a hostage negotiator is the ultimate cold caller. I mean, that, we were cold callers. We sold jail sentences, and we had buyers, and we know about cold calling.
Yeah.
So, the first thing is there's two steps to a cold call. First of all, you just got to introduce your name, first name only, nothing more. You might say what company you're with, but every piece of information after your first name is noise. And all you want them to know is your first name. If you're calling Chris Voss on the phone, do not call and say, can I speak to Chris Voss? Because the only person that says that to me is a salesman. And that means this is a sales call. They're hiding it from me.
Yeah.
And I don't like it already. But if a salesman calls and says, hi, I'm Chris, I'm from the Black Swan Group. Okay, at least I know who you are. It begins to take the mystery out. Now, the second thing is what you were talking about. You don't go for a yes, you go for a no. It's now a bad time to talk. Have I caught you in the middle of something? That immediately returns the feeling of control to your caller, the feeling of control, which means they're going to stay on the phone. They're going to pay attention. When people feel out of control, they can't listen because they're anxious. Where's this going? What's this mean? What happens if I say yes? What am I getting myself into? When's this going to be over? All these things are going through their mind, which means they're not listening. You get 7 seconds to settle them down. And you do not settle them down by saying, hi, can I speak to Chris, please? Because only salespeople do that. None of my friends call me on the phone and said, could I speak to Chris Voss? They know it's my phone. It's a ridiculous way to start out.
Yeah, so this may be your preference, or that's just like a kind of rule. Should I say, okay, hey, this is Siddique, like I should not say my full name when I'm speaking, or someone is calling. What's important of just a first name? I'm curious, and people who are watching, they're curious too. What's the magic behind it?
Well, what you really want me to remember is that you're Siddique. Siddique is a person.
Yeah.
Siddique is another schmuck on a planet who's just trying to make ends meet, just like me.
Yeah.
They'll get your last name eventually.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, people have so much trouble with names anyway. The less you give them to remember, the more likely they are to remember it. So just Siddique, and you're a person. immediately you start the rapport building process, just being a person, because you just want to be Siddique to them anyway. You don't want to be Siddique the salesman. You don't want to be Siddique 50 years in sales. You know, you want it to be as simple and clean, as easy to remember to start off with.
Definitely, definitely. So is now a bad time to talk? That's the key. Right? There's a few words, Black Swan. Small things have a huge impact. So better start taking notes and repeat 100 times before you use it. So that way it's so natural before you use it. And when you're making a call, other person say hello on the other side. Don't try to, where is that one line which I need to say that? Don't say that one. Is that right, Chris? That's a warning. They need to practice it first before they use it. So it looks
Well, you know, practice, repetition is the mother of skill, to quote Tony Robbins.
Yes.
I mean, you need to get your repetition in, so you can get comfortable with it. So your tone of voice comes across comfortable. Yeah. So that if you're comfortable, you're confident. What's really more important, what's more important than confidence is competence. Competence. And there's a real important distinction between those two things. And what the other side is always looking for you more than anything else is competence. Because even if they like you, if you're not competent, why should they listen to you?
Definitely. Definitely. Let's switch the side of a cold call. We all do receive many cold calls, and many times we get angry and screaming, why you call me, get off this number from the list and all that stuff. So what would you say when you receive a cold call, so that way we don't lose the, calmness in our, kind of mindset and body?
Yeah, if I'm calling up, if I'm making a cold call on behalf of the Black Swan Group, I'm going to say, hi, it's Chris with the Black Swan Group. Have I caught you in the middle of something? Or is now a bad time to talk? Now, neither one of those are either the two questions you should start off with on a cold call, because it gives them the feeling, again, that they're in control and they're less worried about being ambushed. Now, they're going to give you permission to get another 7 seconds after that. I mean, these are 7-second increments. But as long as you don't make them feel trapped or like they can't get away, and that's the whole problem with this yes momentum nonsense or this momentum selling. The concept of micro agreements is so you can trap somebody. Now, everybody's wise to this. This micro agreement nonsense is the biggest load of horse manure that's out there. And as soon as you start trying to tie me down with micro agreements, I don't trust you, and I can't wait to get off the phone, which means I'm not listening. And that's the worst place for any salesperson to be, when they've caused their counterpart to stop listening to them.
Definitely. So when you receive a cold call on the other side and they say, is it a good time to talk or something, and you end up in talking a little bit with them, how you want to say something, how I should answer a cold call myself, is it the other side of the equation? Instead of me making a cold call, we do receive a cold call all the time.
Yeah, well, if I pick up a cold call, I'm going to give the salesperson about 15 to 20 seconds to dial into the heart of the matter and not waste my time. Yeah. If you're not going to waste my time, I'm actually interested in hearing what you have to say. If you're trying to trap me, well, I know you don't think what you have has value. Otherwise, you wouldn't be trying to trap me. Yeah. So that's, I'm screening you from the very beginning. But if you're willing to get right down to it, get right down to the value proposition, and also let me know that you're willing to pay attention to how the value proposition needs to be adjusted for me, I'll talk. But anything other than that, you're wasting my time. Mm-hmm. And the thing I am least tolerant of is having my time wasted, because as an entrepreneur, I don't get a salary if I don't get a deal. I'm in conversation with the in-house counsel for a company recently. He doesn't care if you waste time, because he gets paid no matter what happens. In-house counsels, lawyers that work inside a company, they're happy to let time drag out because it's not costing them. They're getting paid. But I'm not in-house counsel. I'm the owner, and I don't have time to waste.
Definitely. As you mentioned about a yes trap, and instead of a yes trap, why getting like a no should be our goal, your goal. Like why the no is should be our goal, because we have been trained of our rest before of our like whole life. Hey, trying to get a yes from the other guys. Yeah, I got the
Right.
deal. But you say it's completely the opposite. To go for the no, and why is that should be the goal?
Yeah, well, you know, when we call this, we'll call this a calibrated no, and a calibrated no is worth at least 5 yeses. Because if I trigger you with a no, you're going to feel safe and protected, because no is protection. When we say no, we protected ourselves. Now, if you feel safe and protected, you're in a problem-solving frame of mind. For example, I may lay out a possibility, and I'll say, all right, so are you against doing this? Now, you're going to be comfortable saying no to that because you don't feel that you've made any commitment. And if you've got reasons for not doing it, you're going to say, no, I'm not against it, but here are the following problems. And you're going to lay them all out.
Yeah.
Now, a salesperson, very well-intentioned, is probably going to say, does this look like something that would work for you? And a salesperson actually wants to know what the problems are. But your potential buyer is not going to say yes to that, and I need you to fix the following things, because they're going to feel like if they say yes, they've made a commitment. So that's when you get, the dreaded maybe. Maybe. If you're a salesperson and you hate the word maybe, it's because you're a yes addict and you've been trying to get people to say yes, and it's killing you.
Hello, friends. Go for no. That starts today. Okay, you have to rewatch this many times. One homework is look at all your questions that require a yes and write it in when you need a no. So that may take for days and days, and maybe Chris could be in your town somewhere, and you want to get into that because he holds the private sessions in select cities all over the United States. So you may want to actually get all the yeses and convert into no, because that will impact your bottom line. That's what you're after. So in a negotiation, yes or no, because even though they say yes, the yes doesn't really mean most of the time anything, because they are not actually going to implement that one. And many times they are just lying basically the yes part anyway. So how to deal with the liar, person who is lying during the negotiation, how you identify and deal with them.
The real interesting thing, because you get two problems in business, and liars are half of it. But it's the same problem. There's no implementation with a liar because they don't plan on implementing. And you've also got people who just haven't thought things through. They have no idea how something is going to be implemented. Now, they're not lying to you, but still, everything is going to break down in implementation. So either one of these types of counterparts, this problem is how. And how takes care of liars, and it also takes care of poor planners. How's this going to work out? How should we proceed? How do we implement? We like to say yes is nothing without how. And actually, I'm so disdainful of the word yes now. We say yes is nothing and how is everything. You get into how, and you're going to start getting an idea of how to make things work, how to implement, how to save money, how to speed up your deals. How is where your negotiations, your agreements go to die or go to thrive. And either one is dealt with how. Do they die or do they thrive?
So get a simple yes and send them the proposal. That's not going to work out. We ask them.
That's a way to guarantee never hearing from them again.
Yeah, that question. I have that question too. So how to get a better offers and win at the end? So because everybody want to win, it's not a win-win thing. So your book, the title of the book, it doesn't say win-win at all. It says how to never separate the difference. So it's a win-lose situation, or is it like how explain, because we always say, hey, we win-win for all. So
we really tried to avoid the terms win-win entirely. First of all, nobody really knows what those mean. Secondly, it makes you want to do a financial calculation, a rational calculation, when the more important thing is the other side feels like, do they feel like they were treated fairly? I mean, if you feel like I treated you fairly through the whole process, you'll go along with almost anything, as long as you feel like you were treated fairly because you felt like the process was fair. Again, so this is not necessarily, this is about you feeling like you didn't lose. And so many people want to win a negotiation. They need the other side to feel like they lost to be happy. Well, you're killing yourself on how. And the other problem with win-win is the sharks use that phrase to set you up. Like, I know in the opening conversation, if somebody's talking with us about working with them, if in the first part of that conversation, in the first few moments, the first few minutes, they say to me, look, we want a win-win deal. That's code for we win, you lose. Every single time somebody's brought up that phrase early in the conversation, and again, articulated it, they know that that works really good at getting their counterpart to drop their guard. And every time somebody who's used that is trying to get me to give them what I have for nothing, and the wondrous experience of working with them will be my compensation.
Oh, okay. Okay, good. So in sales, and leads, even though we're dealing with the other party on the other side of the sales, we get a yes, and then we send a proposal, and then we never hear from them back. Then I say checking in to ensure I'm not dropping a ball on my end, and then you never hear them back. They say, well, I just want to make sure you received this. They never hear you. You never get any back from them. They're like almost like a dead party on the other side. So what should we write them to restart the communication? It's like almost like a star, and we have done all the work. And in sales, as a sales guy, I'm counting all my positive leads, and there's nothing happening on the other side. And you have some magic line, which I already used it, and it works great. And I want you to say that line and also the meaning, so that way I get a refresher knowledge. And plus, all my people who are watching, they want to start, because I'm sure they have so many dead end leads on the other side.
Well, there's two sides of this. And what you're asking me a question right now is on the back end. And then I want to skip to the front end after we talk about the back end.
Yeah.
But the back end restarter is always, have you given up on this project? I mean, this is a no-oriented question. And we typically get a reaction. I mean, you're going to get a response in 3 to 5 minutes of the person seeing it. And look, if you don't believe me, try it yourself just to prove me wrong. It's astonishing how quickly you're going to get a response. Now, there's also the issue is, why did they stop responding in the first place? And that gets us to the front end. Now, the reason they stopped responding in the first place may be all they wanted from you was a proposal. They're looking for free consulting, and you gave them a proposal, which now they got it because you put all your advice in writing. Or they're doing due diligence because they have a favorite that they're going with, and they need 3 competing bids, and you're one of the fools in the game. So the real issue is, how did you get into this in the first place, especially with salespeople? No less than 20% of your opportunities are fake opportunities, false opportunities, where they're looking for either free consulting or they're just doing due diligence. There's in the book, that Challenger Sale pegs that number at 20%, fake opportunities. In reality, I think the number is much closer to 80% are fake opportunities. And you have to screen it at the beginning.
80%?
80%. 80%. So the truth is somewhere in the middle, but it's no less than 20%. Imagine if you got 20% of your time back. It's one of the reasons why the people that take our coaching, the people that read our book, accelerate their deal velocity. You get more deals faster as soon as you start getting rid of the deals that you were never going to get. There's an old saying in sales, it's not a sin to not get the deal. It's a sin to take a long time to not get the deal.
Yeah.
And that's how we're putting time back in your day. We're going to give you at least 20% of your time back by teaching you how to filter out the fake opportunities.
No, that's amazing. First filter out, then if they are not responding on the other side, then you use it to have you given up on this project. In fact, Chris, let me admit openly on this call, when so many people recommended me I should get a Chris on the call, I say, let me watch one of his, podcasts. That's how you know how the guest is. And I watched one of, you mentioned somewhere in like a 30 minutes later inside the call, have you given up on that? That was like a light bulb went on. And I said, before even I send a message and try to outreach how to get hold of Chris Voss, I'm going to start using their line because we all have something to test on. I sent a few hundred of them. I got almost 30-40% people back to me. I say, you know what, now I have to stop everything else and really get Chris Chris on the call, and that's why we are on this call. So friends, it works. Practice it. It's just one line. Have you given up on whatever the topic is? Just fill in the blank and just send one line. That's it.
Don't change the words. Don't change one word.
Yeah.
And don't put anything else in it. I mean, and I'm not joking around. There's two issues here. I had one person I gave that advice to, and he said, "Had you given up on working with me?" in the email. And then immediately after he wrote, "Because I haven't," which now ruined the tactic.
Yeah.
So don't put anything else. Then the second thing was, I had a woman approach me once and she said, "I sent that text message and it didn't work." And I said, "All right, maybe. Tell me exactly what you said, word for word." And she said, "Yeah, well, I thought what you said was a little accusatory." So I said, "Instead of having you given up on this project," I said, "should we give up on having lunch together to talk about the project?"
Oh
And
my
I thought to myself, no wonder they didn't respond. I wouldn't respond to that either. So don't change the words and don't add anything afterwards.
Yeah, it's like a doctor's prescription medicine. Use it as is, is right?
Use it as prescribed.
As
Exactly.
yeah. So, Chris, as we move along in sales meeting, it's always advisable to have the other party go first. And most of the people, when you move into the sales meeting, they want you to introduce yourself first. So what would you say to turn around that so that we kind of put the ball on their back so they talk about, because until they talk about themselves, you don't know what you are going to talk to. You don't know
Well, I can tell you something. The other side's dying to tell you what you want to know.
Yeah.
Dying. It's just that nobody listens to them. So they've been conditioned that if they talk to you, it's a waste of time because you're not going to listen anyway. I mean, it's the one real biggest issue I have with so many sales techniques, and specifically the Wolf of Wall Street. His book, The Way of the Wolf. I thought, all right, so I got to read this guy's book. I got to see what's in it. And this supposed the straight line selling method. And I will tell you, this guy Jordan Belfort's got a lot of emotional intelligence. But the bottom line is, and what he teaches is that no matter what they say, you're still selling them your widget. No matter how much you listen to them, if your proposal doesn't change a bit, then you've just taught them that them talking to you was a complete waste of their time. If you don't listen to it, if you don't factor it into what you're saying. So they're dying to tell you. They're just waiting to see whether or not you're actually going to listen. And they've been conditioned that you won't listen.
Yeah. Cool. And you also say never ask a why question. And every realtor, when saying yourself, why you're selling this property, why you're selling your home, why you're selling this, why? And you have said don't ask a why question. Then what should I say? And in fact, recently I was selling two things, and everybody was asking a why question. I say, yeah, they need to go to the Chris class. They don't know anything.
Yeah, first of all, just change your whys to whats. I mean, one of the advantages I have is hostage negotiators literally worked all over the world. In every continent on this planet, if you ask somebody why, in every culture, in every language, if you ask them why, they get defensive. Now, my son, Brandon, who is an uncredited co-author of the book and chief of operations in my company, his speculation on this is that no matter what culture you grew up in, when you were little, when you did something wrong, the nearest adult pointed their finger at you and said, "Why did you do that?"
Yep.
And that happened to us enough times that everybody's been conditioned that if somebody says why to us, they're accusing us of doing something wrong. And that's why you got to get that why word out of your vocabulary, because you're going to make people feel accused.
Give me an example or two so that way we know how to convert why into what.
Yeah, well, instead of saying like, why do you want this solution? Say instead, what makes this solution good for you? Or why would you guys adopt a new outcome? what's causing you guys to think about adopting a new outcome? I mean, change your why to what, or what's causing, and it takes the sting of accusation out immediately, and it makes it really easy for the other side to actually answer you. Now, you got a lesson, but make it easy for them to answer you.
Yeah, that's next homework is try to convert all of your why question into what question. And in fact, what makes an, it's not a defensive, you're not, why is almost like acquisition on somebody, then now I more thinking on the other side, they have to like defend themselves really, and most of the time when they're answering a why question, they are guarding themselves so self, they have to lie anyway most of the time, because they're not going to give you the real reason, because you are asking them upfront anyway, there's no relationship yet.
See, the crazy thing about this word is whenever you ask somebody why, you don't necessarily think that they're wrong. But every time you do think they're wrong, you say, why did you do that?
Yeah.
So what are you teaching people that a significant percentage of the time the word why comes out of your mouth, you think they're wrong? They're going to feel that way every time you use the word.
Cool. So in a negotiation, you have, they have to like and trust model, that mostly when they kind of get to know you, they feel that kind of comfortable with you when they're talking. So do you showing a sympathy towards them, or you're showing empathy towards them? So what's the difference between the sympathy and empathy in that?
That is a great question. And I'm actually stumbled over some research recently. We're writing a white paper on tactical empathy for our clients, and only our clients will get this. But empathy never was meant to be compassion. It's a interpretation of a German word from the 1800s, and it was never meant to be compassion or sympathy in any way. It was really about getting to know what's going on with whatever you're interacting with, not adopting it, not sympathizing with it, not agreeing to it, just fully exploring and understanding without agreement. And that's really what empathy is. Now, the people that you're working with, your clients, your customers, even the people in your life, they don't necessarily want you to agree, but they do want to know that you understand. You establish a great relationship once you understand each other. So if you can draw the distinction between sympathy and empathy, you actually have an extremely powerful tool to build rapport and influence with the other side.
So what's the difference between the sympathy and empathy in that case?
All right, so let me put it like this. Empathy is a transmission of information. Sympathy is the reaction to that information. We want information. We want to establish an empathic relationship because I need to get the information from you as to what's going on. Now, how I react to that, whether I'm sympathetic, compassionate, agree, disagree, it's a secondary issue as to whether or not I'm aware. So empathy is really about becoming fully aware, and then how we react to it afterwards is a second stage, but it's a distinct stage. So I'm looking for the information. And in point of fact, if I'm sympathetic towards you, that doesn't do you any good. The great distinction, when I first started learning this, volunteering on a suicide hotline, they used to tell us on a hotline, if someone's in emotional quicksand, it doesn't do them any good for you to get in that quicksand with them. And it doesn't. Sympathy doesn't actually help anybody.
Cool. So on a sales call, when you are on a sales call and you are muted, Chris, now. So, okay. So when we are on a sales call, then the other party know that something is coming, and they may see, oh yeah, this person is very pushy salesperson, or maybe a kind of very greedy. You want to get something, everything from me or something. There's a negative perception of that person. It's unspoken words, So how to take care of those unspoken words of upfront, so that way you build a relationship with that person, and then the rest of the communication becomes smooth.
Yeah, well, you got to be proactive. This isn't just active listening. This isn't just interactive listening. It's proactive listening. It's proactive interaction. We know how the brain works now. We got neuroscience to back it up. The neuroscience tells me that your negativity about who I am and what I represent is a bigger barrier than whatever gains I represent. The feeling that a salesperson is pushy. So I'd start out with a conversation right off the bat, calling out the elephant in the room, not denying it, calling it out. I probably seem like another pushy salesperson. What you'd like to deny in any interaction. What you don't want them to think. I don't want you to think like I'm like all the other salespeople. I don't want you to think I'm a pushy salesperson. The 2 millimeter shift, instead of denying it, is calling it out. I probably look like every other pushy salesperson. That actually generates a feeling of accountability about you to the other side. And I'm like, wow, this person is refreshingly honest. I'm kind of interested in hearing where this is going to go, which is exactly the reaction that you're trying to create in your potential customer.
And plus, let them put their guards a little bit down because you are acknowledged on the same page.
Exactly. You're not denying this stuff. You're calling it out. And it does cause them to drop their guard.
However, it takes a courage to call yourself. Basically, I may come across as a pushy salesperson, or I may sound like I'm a greedy person when you ask me for like more or something.
It only takes courage till you find out how much it works. I mean, the scary part is getting over the hump of trying it a few times, not denying it, calling it out. And, don't try it in your most important conversation. Small stakes practice for high stakes results. Experiment it with a waiter in a restaurant, with a clerk behind the counter at Starbucks, in your little bitty conversations. Road test it in stuff that's not going to cost you. Then once you see how good it works, you're going to be happy to use it in important conversations.
How we can apply into an upgrade situation when you're looking for a seat upgrade and like a room upgrade, or like.
Yeah, well, look, and again, I said this is proactive.
Yeah.
Like if I want something from a hotel clerk, and one of my favorite ones is if I've forgotten to get a late checkout. Late checkouts, people ask, the clerks sometimes they act like that you're asking for their firstborn. So if for whatever reason I need a late checkout, and I'll do this, I've called down and asked for one, and they've refused to give me one, or they want to charge me for it.
Yeah.
I'll go down to the front desk, and I'll walk up to a clerk, and I'll say, I'm getting ready to make your day horrible. And then let that sink in. Okay. And you just watch there. Oh my God. Well, my God. What's this guy going to ask for?
Yeah.
And then I'll say, I need a late checkout. And they'll go, oh, sure. Is 4 o'clock okay? And they'll give it to me immediately. Now realize this was less than 3 minutes after I'd called down and been denied a late checkout.
Yeah.
So what I've gone is I've been very proactive in inoculating them from a negative reaction to what I really want and making it seem easy. I mean, I do this all the time. So it works so much that now I don't know why I called down if I forgot, because if I call, I know they're going to say no.
Yeah.
And if I walk down there, I know I'm going to get it. And I say to myself, do I got to go through this stupid game again? I mean, I'm sick of this silly game. But the answer is yes. So it happens every time.
What if they say no to that one in front of them, then you have something follow up to say to them?
Well, look, if they say no to that, then in reality, you can only negotiate what's possible.
Yeah.
Then I know that it ain't happening, and this is on me for failing to anticipate it. What I need is at all times, what I need is my best chance of success. I learned this phrase from my former boss in the FBI, Gary Nessner. Because our commanders would want to say to you, you guarantee this strategy is going to work. And Gary taught me to say, I guarantee you the best chance of success. You can't guarantee success. You can only guarantee the best chance. Some deals either could never have been made, or there's a fair amount that you don't want to make. All I'm asking for is my best chance of success. And this gives you that.
So let me go back to your FBI life in that one. So what was the chances of success in terms of percents, or because it's all about life and death matters in that case?
Well, across the board, hostage negotiators are successful 93% of the time. You might say as salespeople, we got a 93% close rate. It's just
Oh.
not bad.
In fact, even your reverse set still is a lot higher number, 39% is still a big number, So,
Right, exactly. Yeah. Our close rates are very high.
Yeah. Oh, very good. Very good. So in those like negotiations, because almost like a life and death, because someone is going to that's why I'm going to kill that person if you don't do this, whatever, they're asking for it. So you get emotional, calm, or like because it's a life on the other side, or you have like no emotions of at all. How you deal with that situation?
Well, I spent enough time learning the process before I ever actually got into a real situation.
Yeah.
That I was comfortable that the process, if I followed it, was going to give me my best chance of success. So, we like to say, when the pressure's on, you don't rise to the occasion. You fall to your highest level of preparation. And preparation in terms of the communication skills, not preparation in terms of I ran the numbers or I did my background. No, prepare to communicate effectively. And as a hostage negotiator, I put my preparation time in. I put my communication ability, skill building ability time in, so that when I got on the phone, I knew I had the best chance of success.
Wonderful, wonderful. So as a salesperson, when I'm trying to sell, let's say IT solutions, a big one, I deal with the IT directors on the other side and see all the specs match. Now they send me to the procurement. And their job is to almost take my shirt down because they want to negotiate to the last penny. And whatever I have dealt with I thought I already kind of win just going through the procurement process. In procurement, it's a completely different process because they are trained to reduce the price only because they are not going to change the specs at all. Now they go after everybody else. What type of negotiation skills I can use it in procurement as a salesperson to ensure the kind of success and get the deal, because that's half of the job.
Well, one of the things that, that I get the biggest kick out of is we didn't talk that much about procurement in the book because I didn't realize that procurement is the exact profile of the international kidnapping negotiator, and the whole structure of what we wrote in the book is designed to get the upper hand on that guy.
Yeah.
So if you're dealing with procurement, that's really good news. You are now the favorite because procurement never talks to the fool in the game. Procurement's got better things to do than to talk to the fool in the game. So you're the favorite, which means you're the favorite. Why cut your price? Now, procurement's going to be mean. They're going to beat you up. They're going to try every trick in a book. That's their job.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is, procurement's got a deadline. They got an internal client on their side who's standing behind them with their arms folded, tapping their toe, saying, where's my product? When are you going to deliver me my product?
Yeah.
And so in reality, if you're talking to procurement, you got the upper hand. All you got to do is be patient. Patience is a weapon with procurement, and it's the weapon that horrifies them. Because if they haven't closed you in the last 48 hours of your quarter, they feel there's a hard deadline on them. And they got to close you in 48 hours. What does that mean? If you last 96 hours, they got to give you what you want because they're scared now. They're looking down the barrel of 3 months. So if you got procurement talking to you, you've got the upper hand.
Cool. Very good. So let's cover a few things about the job offers, because job offers majority of people are dealing with. So negotiation is in every part of life, even at your home, with your kids, with your quote unquote wife, and significant others. So then, as a candidate, when I'm going for the interview and they say, when they ask the salary question, and it's very hard. People don't know how to answer that question and what should kind of follow up on that one to answer, like what's your expected salary or something you're expecting from that. What should be the right answer to, instead of giving?
Yeah, there's two key questions that you need to get answered and that you actually understand the answer. And the first key question is, what does it take to be successful here? Now, that's not the same thing as what are you looking for in a candidate. And a lot of people that I have given that question to say, oh, yeah, I always ask that. I always ask, what are you looking for in a candidate? Well, what you just did was tell me that you're not listening, because that's not the question I posed to you. What does it take to be successful here? And then actually listen to the answer. The response that we've gotten to that actual question is the other side's astonished, because it's a thoughtful, insightful question instead of you selling yourself. Yeah. Now, that's question number one that you got to get answered. Now, question number two, and this presumes that you actually want to get ahead and that you're going to do the work, which not everybody is going to do the work. Yeah. But presuming that you're willing to work and listen to the answers, you also want to ask, how can I be guaranteed to be involved in projects that are critical to the strategic future of this company? Now, that is a game changer.
Yeah.
Because what you asked and what they heard, among the things that they heard, which causes you to stand out, is they heard that you actually want to make their life better. Yeah. Because critical strategic projects guarantee their future, not just yours.
Yeah.
And you're now out of the selfish person to a team-oriented person, just with that question. And so the structure of that question is really important. And we always talk about what you said and what they heard. And that question, what they hear is that you're a team player and you want to help with everybody's future. Now you're a valuable and a rare commodity.
Wonderful, wonderful. And an annual review, like, every year there's a kind of review happens, and you get like a 0.005% raise in your salary. So how you ask for a raise from your boss?
Well, again, you don't negotiate your salary, you negotiate your success. Now, you negotiate your success, and again, it's the same two questions.
Yeah.
So one of two things happen. Either you're successful in that company, or you built your resume so that you're going to be successful someplace else. Now, just because you're doing a great job, it might not be the right situation for you. There's a whole bunch of reasons why it might not be the right situation for you. You don't have any control over the leadership in your company. Leadership in your company guarantees the company's future. 40% of the Fortune 500 are going to be gone in 10 years. They're going to be extinct. They will have gone the way of the dodo. Inadequate leadership, unfortunately, is a norm in the business world. So your issue, besides getting ahead in this company, is the decision as to whether or not this is the best place for your future overall, which again gets you back to the same two questions. Have you been doing what they told you to do a year ago? When you said, what does it take to be successful here? Did you implement that? They're going to know. Did you seek important projects that were critical to everybody's future? And did you perform? Did you do that? They're going to know. You now got a track record, and that's the important thing about actually listening to answers, because once you ask these questions, you're obligated to follow the advice. And if you don't, you shouldn't get more money. You shouldn't get promoted. You've been told what to do and you didn't do it. If you work for me, why would I want to promote you? What you just taught me again was that you didn't listen.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much. Friends, see, I told you it was worth waiting for Chris, the author of Never Separate the Difference. So, Chris, in a life, we, most of the CEOs, founders, serial entrepreneurs, we all have some property to sell. I know you deal with so many real estate agents. So, as a seller of a property, when I'm dealing with a listing agent on the seller side, so the typical listing agent, when you end up and before signing, they give you the higher price market comparables. So that way, because you end up in signing with them. And after 30 to 60 days, they end up in reducing the price, because by the time everybody else is gone anyway. Why? Because you will not get the offers from that market. How, as a seller, I can negotiate with that listing agent, kind of avoid that situation upfront during the negotiation before I sign up for my listing agreement with them?
Well, again, the issue here is if they've given you high prices to begin with, yes is nothing without how.
Yeah.
How's that going to happen? I mean, they've made you feel good.
Yeah.
But your home ain't going for a high price if you know it's a high price, and an awful lot of agents do that.
Yeah.
And so what's their strategy? Their strategy is hope. They're failing to anticipate what's going to happen. Again, yes is nothing without how. How's this person going to be reliable in doing this job if they start out by giving me a price that's probably too high? Now, we want to hear that,
yeah.
But the real issue, again, is how are you going to get this done? Can I count on you to be honest with me? An agent's negotiation with you is an audition of how they will negotiate on your behalf.
Yeah.
So if they started out with you with nonsense, how are they going to be successful on your behalf? Nonsense ain't a great strategy moving forward. Nonsensical, not based in reality, deceptive approaches do not get the job done. So if I get somebody that's giving me a price that looks high for my house, my sinking feeling should be, this is probably not the right person for me.
It's like almost identifying the liar on the upfront, so that way go for the next person. And I'm sure you heard that, in during negotiation, they say, take it or leave it. I have watched myself on a Shark Tank, they say, oh, before you talk to the next shark, either you say yes to me or gone. It's like a very hard ball playing. How should we deal with that situation? Because of course, as an entrepreneur or as a salesperson, before I say yes to that one, I want to see what others have offered and compare it and see it, try to negotiate wherever is possible. What's a reasonable answer to the take it, leave it answer? Almost like bullying,
and I got to tell you, the best, Mark Cuban does that all the time.
Yeah.
And, what Cuban's really doing is testing you. Because if you're going to be Cuban's business partner, if he can push you around, what does he need you for? He needs to see how you react under pressure. He needs to see how you react to take it or leave it deals. And one of my favorite responses of all time was the person responded to him with a version of how am I supposed to do that? Because what you should say is how am I supposed to do that when they give you a take it or leave it offer.
Yeah.
But this person looked at Mark Cuban and Mark said, look, take it or leave it right now. You got to give me an answer. And he looked at Cuban and he said, if I was out negotiating on your behalf, would you want me to get pushed around by that kind of a statement? And Cuban went, no, I guess not.
Okay.
Which is really a no-oriented question, is it not?
Yeah, is it not? Yeah.
Yeah, so, and Cuban sat back and relaxed and let him listen to the other sharks. No problem.
Cool. That takes a lot of preparation. Because it's a very high stake right on TV, because they have to create a drama too at the same time to have people watching.
Yeah, you fall to your highest level of preparation, right?
Yeah, that's it. So let's cover a few things from your book. You have like a mirroring. It's not like, like somebody touching the nose, you start touching the nose, and because especially on a phone, how you mirror someone,
Well, mirroring is just repeating the last 1 to 3 words of what somebody's just said. It's not the tone of voice mirror. It's not the body language mirror. It's not any of that body language nonsense. A hostage negotiator's mirror is to repeat the last 1 to 3 words of what somebody's just said. Couldn't be simpler. And it's ridiculously effective. I mean, it is so much more effective than so many other techniques. And one of the interesting things about that particular technique of repeating the last 1 to 3 words of what someone has just said, everybody likes it. All types of people love to be married. They love it.
That can be used at home too? Because most of the things that you learn, that you can't use it at home.
Yeah, try a small stakes practice. Absolutely try it at home. It's a great conversation enhancer. It's a great enhancement for conversation.
Wonderful. give us some example, one or two, so that way we get to understand this more, mirroring, because this is something completely new when I was reading it.
Well, all right. So, you know, the wife, the girlfriend comes in, the spouse, the counterpart, you know, I'm not trying to imply that necessarily female person coming in, regardless of what your gender is.
Yeah.
You know, and you say, how was your day? And they say, yeah, it was kind of tough. And you say, it was kind of tough? Just like that. Last 1 to 3 words, upward inflection. And they go, yeah, you know, I mean, I've been working really hard on this project. Now they're going to talk a little bit more.
Yeah.
So the other thing about it, mirrors create conversation between the mirrors. And now they're going to be paying attention to what they've said. They're going to feel like it's okay to go on. They're going to feel like you're attentive and listening. And they're not going to notice through the course of a 45-minute conversation, maybe you mirrored them 3 or 4 times in a row, but they talked enough in between each time that they're not going to notice that you mirrored them. I mean, people mirror me now, and they still get me going. And you know what? I don't mind that they mirror me. The only thing I mind is if they don't listen. That's what bothers me.
Yeah.
And so mirroring also indicates that you're listening, which is half the battle.
That was my next question. You almost caught, off guard me on that one. What if the student who has already learned from you, they are applying the same thing on you, just like you said, you're mirroring, they are mirroring, you know, and you're okay with that one. So that way, it makes it easy for you when 2 people, your clients and the selling agent and the buyer agent, and you know, everybody is trained by Chris and Chris team, how that really practically improve the results, or like that, because we both know each other's side, how they're going to come across, you know.
Well, the issue is not whether you're using a tool, it's the issue, what are you using the tool for?
Yeah.
You know, everybody's got a cell phone. It's a communication enhancer. There are a lot of people using cell phones to commit really horrible crimes.
Yeah.
Because other people are using the tool for bad things. Does that invalidate the use of the tool for you? Not at all. The issue is, what are you using the tool for? When we communicate in our team, we mirror and label and summarize each other all the time. We ask each other no-oriented questions all the time. We're working together. We want to communicate clearly with each other. We know we need each other as sounding boards. We think better collectively than we think individually. So these are all communication, collaboration, cooperation enhancements. Now, as soon as somebody starts using this stuff to manipulate me, which I can figure out pretty quickly, I'm now also going to get some confirming data from them. I'm going to try a couple of more things. But typically, you know, my instincts are good. If there's manipulation going, exploitation going on the other side, if they're doing due diligence, if they're trying to, they don't want to hire the Black Swan Group for training, but they want to know our training models so they can duplicate it themselves. You know, I'll figure that out really quickly, and it doesn't matter how good they are with the skills, we're not going to talk.
Wonderful. So wonderful. What are the top 3 things you want to pass on to your next generation? You know, this is Chris passing on to the next generation.
Yeah, well, I mean, give the other side a chance to go first. I mean, give them a chance to talk themselves into your deal. Yeah. There's a really good chance that you can get your deal if you hear them out. So make sure they feel heard. Let's get some operational application of Stephen Covey's advice. Seek first to understand, then be understood. Demonstrate understanding. And then be willing to accept the fact that maybe their idea is better than yours. And don't let your ego get so far in the way that you won't take a better idea. You know, we like to say flexibility is being willing to accept something better than what you originally had in mind. Be willing to take a better deal than what you originally had in mind.
Wonderful. That's amazing. Chris, how are you growing your consulting business right now in this economy?
You know what? All people got to do is stumble over our stuff. I mean, we're an accelerator. We're a multiplier. Whatever you have at stake, we're going to make you more effective. So, you know, if you got enough at stake over the course of the year to make our training cheap in reality.
Yeah.
You know, the book is nothing. A book right now is about $20.
Yeah.
You're going to get $20 worth of value out of the book in the first conversation, let alone through the course of the year. So, you know, come to us, come to our website. Yeah, you know, you're kind enough to put the website up right now. Subscribe to our blog. Our blog is free. It comes out once a week. It's got tremendous usable tips on how to implement what we're talking about. I mean, we got a lot of free content out there. Jump into what the book and what we're giving for free, and you're going to get a tremendous amount of value on it.
Wonderful. So the website is blackswanltd.com. And what's a black swan? It's a special, very, very special word. It has a very special meaning to you, Chris.
Yeah, well, you know, it's the little things that change everything. I mean, it's finding out the hidden or unknown things about the other side that are game changers. A great book by Nicholas Nassim Taleb from about 2007, talking about how black swans are the impact of the highly improbable. And he got the idea from the discovery of black swans in the 16th century as a metaphor. I mean, what are the little things that change everything? And we teach you how to find those things and how to implement them in a negotiation.
Wonderful. Friends, you're watching this, go on blackswanltd.com, click on a blog, and you see there's the Edge newsletter. I am already a part of it. I signed up in front of you again. So, and also you want to connect with Chris Voss on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is the business place where you can actually connect with the professional friends and, you know, contact them, learn from their posts, so that we engage with each other, so that way, you know, you can stay in touch and keep growing, listening to each other. Listening is more important, not just post everything. Yes, yes, yes. So, Chris, what would you say as a final word?
Negotiation is the art of letting the other side talk themselves into your answer. So let other people talk, you know, give them a chance, make them feel heard. Your relationships will be better. Your negotiations will be better. Your whole life will be better.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Chris, for sharing your wisdom with us today on the behalf of Growth Hacking Show and community and our entire team. We really appreciate you. This is Mohammed Siddique signing off from Atlanta, Georgia, wishing you good luck, good sales, and I do hope our path cross again with another amazing guest. Until then, all best wishes.
Thank you.